Space Jam: New Legacy is the latest installment of the Space Jam franchise, and it is directed by Malcolm D. Lee, and is written by Joel Taylor, Tony Reddermere, Keenan Coogler, Terrence Nance, Jesse Gordon, Celeste Billard, and stars LeBron James, Eric Bauza, Jeff Bergman, Soquia Martin Green, Chris Davis, Cedric Joe, with Zendaya, and Don Cheadle. The movie is it's not really a continuation of the Space Jam movies. It is more or less a standalone movie, but it's called Space Jam 2. Like, it basically is saying, like, these are characters, IPs in a Warner Brothers movie. Like, Space Jam was a movie. It doesn't really play out, even though they've said in the marketing, that was just a movie. And there's even like 3 references to the first movie, like Michael Jordan. There's even a Space Jam, like when they're looking at all the IP that's floating around. There's a Space Jam movie cover that flies around with Michael Jordan and them on it. And then there's also a Michael Jordan joke in the movie where you're like, oh, Michael Jordan's going to show up in the cameo? And it turns out it's not that Michael Jordan. It's Michael B. Jordan from Creed and, of course, from Black Panther. So it's not that Michael Jordan. And it's awesome. And then, of course, there's a third one where Bugs Bunny's like, I feel like it's Lola Bunny that says, been there, done that. We're talking about putting a basketball team together. And I really was hesitant. Like, I've heard a few people talk about, like, the movie review. Like, I've heard there's one YouTuber named John Flickinger, Flickpick, who was talking, like, he didn't like the movie, and that scared me because I'm like, oh, really, man? I really like the first movie. And then there's one YouTuber who has just been excited for this movie. And I think me and him were the only YouTubers that were excited for Space Jam 2. And that is 3C Films himself, Chris Parker. And when he reviewed it, I was like, well, he reviewed it, and I didn't take him seriously at first because I was like, look, he reviews the movie. He has what I call the Green Lantern effect, where it's like you're so overly hyped for a movie, no matter if it's bad or good. And this is a no shot at Chris or nothing. I respect him. I always watch his channel. Such a great guy. I will say, when you have a thing called Green Lantern fatigue, which means you're watching it you're so excited to see the movie, you're buying all the stuff for it, you're getting so overly excited to where even if it's bad, in your mind it's going to be perfect. So by the time the movie hits Blu-ray and everything, and then you think about it, and it's sitting there like, oh my god, this isn't that good. Like, I had that with Green Lantern. I was so excited for Green Lantern to come out. I bought, like, the Ryan Reynolds action figure, and I bought all this stuff for Green Lantern, to where finally when the movie came out, I was like, oh, I can't wait. I saw it and I was like, I love it, love it, love it. And then after I got it on Blu-ray and I watched it with my mother, and my mother's like, this is terrible. And then I'm like, what? And then it just shatters, and I'm like, you're right, it is. Well, I mean, it's not the worst DC movie, but I'm like, it's not great. And I felt like that's what he has right now. Like, it's great. It's like Space Jam 10 when he comes out, which that's what I thought at first when I was like. So I was like, I can't trust his review because my feelings for it might change through time. And so I was like, I'm just going to have to make it for myself. I got one person saying it's good, one person saying it's bad. What do I do, And Chris Stuckman is not really doing movie reviews anymore, so it's like, what do I do, And I looked at Jeremy Johns, and I looked at Tyrone Magnus's reviews, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do, Like, yeah, it's negative, maybe like a mixed one and there's a positive one. It's like, maybe it is bad. And then, like, I try not to look at reviews before I watch a movie, but I'll just checking the water to see if it's good or not. And so I went and I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch it. And I sat down, watched the first one with my niece, and she liked the first one, and nobody wanted to watch the second one with me because everybody saw the trailer. They look stupid. And so I'm like, well, I like the trailer. And so I got a t-shirt the day before this movie came out. I got this t-shirt, okay? Five Below, I got this t-shirt. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was even going to get socks, but I decided not to because I'm like, what if the movie sucks? I don't want to get a shirt and the socks and everything. Like, I don't want to be, like, overly hyped for the movie, too, and then, like, it be below my expectations or, like overly fatigued with it. So I just said, you know what? I'll watch it, and if I hate it, okay. I mean, I got this shirt. I can look. It's Looney Tunes. Even if the movie sucks, so what? You know, you still like they'll probably make another one, like a reboot in 10 years or so, and have a different athlete. So it's fine. I mean, this is just a bad movie, you know. So what? So I watched the movie, and I was like, I enjoyed the movie. I honestly did. Like, it wasn't the better movie. Like, I mean, if Space Jam, you put Space Jam 1 and 2 in front of me, I'm going to choose the first one, always. But it has a lot of good stuff in the movie. Like, there's a sequence in the movie that I love where they're in Metropolis and Daffy Duck and Porky Pig went into business to basically, they try to kidnap a train, and they're going to basically fake they're Superman. Like, he's trying to pull, like, I'm the superhero of Metropolis. And then, like, the train crashes through the whole DC universe, and then Superman stops the train, and all the Justice League are mad at him. And they're like, that made me laugh so hard. I love that movie part. And I also love, there's a cool Wonder Woman sequence. There's like 4 Matrix sequences in this movie. There's the Matrix world. There's Matrix. There's talks of the Matrix. Then there's a whole sequence from the first movie at the very beginning of the first movie. But instead of Trinity, it's the Granny and Speedy Gonzales. And then Bugs Bunny's dressed like Morpheus, and LeBron's dressed like Neo. Which, ironically, Will Smith was supposed to be Neo in the first Matrix movie, but he didn't understand the movie, so he bailed out and Keanu Reeves got the role. So that right there is the closest look we'll ever see of what Will Smith would have looked like as Neo. So take that, what you will. And also, Roadrunner is on Mad Max World, which I thought that was clever. I like Mad Max. And then, of course, Tasmania. My boy Tasmania is my favorite Looney Tune. Apparently, Rick and Morty had him, and they were doing experiments on him. And he says, "Take your badger with you." I thought that was so great. And it's actually Rick and Morty. Like, it's actually Justin Roiland as Rick and Morty. Like, I can't see, like, Morty's like, I can't see things I unseen. Like, it's so great. And, of course, there was another world that they went to. Casablanca. They went to Casablanca. Oh, yeah, Austin Powers world. Yeah, they went to Austin Powers. Which, Casablanca looked better than Austin Powers. Austin Powers was just, like, a scene that was reused. And then just put, like, them inside of it. Like, Elmer Fudd was Mini-Me. And so... yeah, they put Austin Powers and Casablanca. I forgot who's in Casablanca. But I know that, what was it? Who was... oh, yeah, and Sylvester was the cat in that world. Mr. Bigglesworth. So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fun IP and stuff. And I will say that, regardless of how you feel about LeBron James, I thought he did a fine job in the movie. I mean, I know some people say he's terrible in this movie. I mean, he's acting a CGI character. It's not really easy. I mean, I think Michael Jordan had more experience because he did those commercials before he did the movie. So he had that experience. Versus LeBron, who just did this movie, and that was it. But I will say, I think if you watch the commercials, they have tie-ins for it. He looks a lot better acting in this movie compared to some of the scenes in the movies he has. And I will say, Don Cheadle as AG, I thought he did a great job as the villain. I mean, I understood his motivations. Did I think he's better than the monsters? No, but I mean, I understood. I thought he was a decent villain. And I also liked all the Easter eggs and IP stuff they had in the movie. Like, if you watch the basketball sequence at the end, I really like the scene. And I like how they have, like, Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin and Agent Smith and the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. And just all this IP right here, man. I'm just like, oh, all this IP, Harry Potter and everything. It's just so great. I was, like, enjoying that. I mean, there's a lot of IP in this movie, but it works to its advantage. And I also will say that everyone, including Zendaya, does a good job at the movie. And, like, I will say everyone does. I really enjoy everything about this movie. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it reminded me of Ready Player One, like, from the nostalgic purposes. But I will say, I mean, it's kind of like a mini sequel to that, because there's a lot of nostalgia and IP, like Iron Giant and King Kong and all that stuff. And so I really thought that was really cute and amazing. I also will say that I thought Bugs Bunny was a really strong character because, like, IG took all the characters out, and so now they're off doing their own thing. And so when finally we get back to them, like, you know, they're off in other IP worlds, and Bugs Bunny just basically went crazy, and he's got like a talking carrot he's talking to, and they're all his characters that he talks to, and I really appreciate that, because it shows you what would happen in a world where Bugs Bunny was alone, and I really like that perspective of this movie, and that really made me appreciate that. And I will say that everybody in all the little characters have an important arc in this movie, with the exception of Daffy. I feel like Daffy was just there. Although the Superman scene was fun, but I feel like he didn't really play basketball in this one. He was just the coach. Although there was, you know, that's a lie. I think he had a pretty good art. There was one character I thought just maybe the chicken or something. One character I was like, they didn't really do much with this character, unlike the first one. I thought Daffy though, yeah, he had a good arc. Especially there's a scene where Michael Jordan's here. Sylvester pulls Michael Jordan out, and he's like, and then you see Michael. It turns out it's Michael B. Jordan, the actor, and you're like, and then he gives like a quick speech, and then he runs away, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, and then Daffy takes his clipboard and writes, "Trade Sylvester, brought wrong Michael Jordan in." I laughed at that. I thought that was funny. But yeah, this movie is a fun time. If you're just here to watch a movie, if you're there just to watch a fun kids movie that you liked as a kid, now you want your kid to see, it'd work for you. I will say, I'm going to give Space Jam: A New Legacy a B+. Thank you all so much for watching. I got a few things coming up. Like, I'm working on a new thing for the channel called 3D Horror Cinema. So I'm doing that soon. And I'm going to launch with the first movie we have. I'm not going to say what movie it is, but it's going to be a special treat for really nostalgic horror fans. But that's what I'm watching. I'm going to have a co-host. I don't know if it's going to be the same host or if it's going to rotate out. But I don't know. I'll try to be there as much as possible. It's going to be called 3D Horror Cinema. Look out for that soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Just give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And fall down the rabbit hole for more. Goodbye. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye. Goodbye.
Yikes. Classic.
Welcome to the Space Jam.